Shalom, welcome to Tactically Torah. I am Heath Hayes. It is day 24 for Read the Bible in a Year. We are in Exodus 19. We're reading 19, 20, and 21. So let's start on page 77 if you're following in the scriptures. Let's see. In the third new moon, after the children of Israel had come out of the land of Mitzrayim, on this day they came to the wilderness of Sinai. For they set out from Rephidim and had come to the wilderness of Sinai and camped in the wilderness. So Israel camped there before the mountain. And Moshe went up to Elohim, and Yahweh called to him from the mountain, saying, This is what you are to say to the house of Jacob, and declare to the children of Israel, You have seen what I did to the Mitzrites, and how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. And now if you diligently obey my voice and shall guard my covenant, then you shall be my treasured possession above all peoples, for all the earth is mine. And you shall be to me a reign of priests and a set-apart nation. Those are the words which you are to speak to the children of Israel. And Moshe came and called for the elders of the people, and set before them all these words which Yahweh commanded them. And all the people answered together and said, All that Yahweh has spoken we shall do. And Moshe brought back the words of the people to Moshe brought back the words of the people to Yahweh. And Yahweh said to Moshe, See, I am coming to you in a thick cloud, so that the people hear when I speak to you, and believe you forever. And Moshe reported the words of the people to Yahweh, and Yahweh said to Moshe, Go to the people and set them apart today and tomorrow, and they shall wash their garments and shall be prepared by the third day. For on the third day Yahweh shall come down upon Mount Sinai before the eyes of all the people, and you shall make a border for the people all around, saying, Take heed to yourselves, that you do not go up to the mountain or touch the border of it. Whoever touches the mountain shall certainly be put to death. Not a hand is to touch it, but he shall certainly be stoned or shot with an arrow, whether man or beast, and he shall not live. When the Yobel sounds long, let them come near the mountain. And Moshe came down from the mountain to the people, and set the people apart, and they washed their garments. And he said to the people, Be prepared, by the third day do not come near a wife. And it came to be on the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings and thick cloud on the mountain, and the voice of a shofar was very strong, and all the people who were in the camp trembled. And Moshe brought the people out of the camp and camped to meet with Elohim, and they stood at the foot of the mountain, and Mount Sinai was in smoke, all of it, because Yahweh descended upon it in fire, and its smoke went up like the smoke of a furnace, and all the mountain trembled exceedingly. And when a voice of the shofar sounded long, and became very strong, Moshe spoke, and Elohim answered him by a voice, and Yahweh came down upon the Mount Sinai, and on the top of the mountain, and Yahweh called Moshe to the top of the mountain, and Moshe went up. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Go down and warn the people, lest they break through unto Yahweh to see, and many of them fall. And let the priests who come near Yahweh set themselves apart too, lest Yahweh break out against them. And Moshe said to Yahweh, The people are not able to come up to Mount Sinai, for you warned us, saying, Make a border around the mountain and set it apart. And Yahweh said to him, Come, go down, and then come up, you and Aaron with you. But do not let the priests and the people break through to come up to Yahweh, lest he break out against them. And Moshe went down to the people and spoke to them. Exodus chapter 20. And I have numbered the 10 commands, because this is where we see the 10 commands. 10 commandments, right? And Elohim spoke all these words, saying, I am Yahweh your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, out of the house of slavery. You have no other mighty ones against my face. That's number 1. Number 2, you do not make yourself a carved image or any likeness that is which in the heavens above, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters under the earth. You do not bow down to them nor serve them, for I, Yahweh, your Elohim, am a jealous El, visiting the crookedness of the fathers on the children of the 3rd and the 4th generations of those who hate me, but showing loving commitment to thousands to those who love me and guard my commands. So notice, quick note here, those who hate me is indicative of those who do not guard his commands, but those who love him are indicative of those who guard his commands. And Yeshua reiterated it in John chapter 14, stating that if you love me, you will guard my commands. That's it. So we have 2 witnesses. And there's multiple witnesses for that idea. But there's that. Number 3, verse 7. You do not bring the name of Yahweh your Elohim to naught, for Yahweh does not leave one unpunished who brings his name to naught. The idea of bringing his name to naught, it's misrepresentation of his name, or being a whore. Chapter 4, Commandment 4, verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to set it apart. 6 days you shall labor, and shall do all your work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath of Yahweh, your Elohim. You do not do any work, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your sojourner who is within your gates. For in 6 days Yahweh made the heavens and the earth and the sea and all that is in them, and rested on the 7th day. Therefore Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and set it apart. Commandment 5. Respect your father and your mother, so that your days are prolonged upon the soil which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you. Commandment 6, you do not murder. Commandment 7, you do not commit adultery. Commandment 8, you do not steal. Commandment 9, you do not bear false witness against your neighbor. Commandment 10, you do not covet your neighbor's house. You do not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, or whatever belongs to your neighbor. And all the people saw the thunders and the lightning flashes, the voice of the shofar and the mountain smoking, and the people saw it, and they trembled and stood at a distance, and said to Moshe, you speak with us, and we hear, but let not Elohim speak with us, lest we die. And Moshe said to the people, do not fear, for Elohim has come to prove you, in order that his fear be before you, so that you do not sin. So the people stood at a distance, but Moshe drew near the thick darkness where Elohim was. And Yahweh said to Moshe, say this to the children of Israel, you and yourselves have seen that I have spoken to you from the heavens, and you do not make beside me mighty ones of silver, you do not make mighty ones of gold for yourselves. Make a slaughter place of earth for me, and you shall slaughter on it your ascending offerings and your peace offerings, your sheep and your cattle, in every place where I cause my name to be remembered, I shall come to you and bless you. And if you make me a slaughter place of stone, do not build it of cut stone, for if you use your chisel on it, you have profaned it. Nor do you go up by steps to my slaughter place, lest your nakedness be exposed on it. Chapter 21. These are right rulings which you are to set before them. When you buy a Hebrew servant, he serves 6 years, and in the 7th year he goes out free for naught. For if he comes in by himself, he goes out by himself. If he comes in married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master has given him a wife, and she has borne him sons and daughters, the wife and her children are her master's, and he goes out by himself. And if the servant truly says, I love my master, my wife, and my children, let me not go out free. And his master shall bring him before Elohim, and shall bring him to the door, or the doorpost of his master, and his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. And when a man sells his daughter to be a female servant, she does not go out as the male servants do. If she is displeasing in the eyes of her master who has engaged her to himself, then he shall let her be ransomed. He shall have no authority to sell her to a foreign people because of him deceiving her. And if he has engaged her to his son, he is to do to her as is the right of daughters. If he takes another wife, her food, her covering, and her marriage rights are not to be diminished. And if he does not do these 3 for her, then she shall go out for naught without silver. He who strikes a man so that he dies shall certainly be put to death. But if he did not lie in wait, but Elohim delivered him into his hand, then I shall appoint for you a place where he is to flee. But when a man acts presumptuously against his neighbor to kill him by treachery, this is murder, you are to take him even from my slaughter place to die. And he who strikes his father or his mother shall certainly be put to death. He who kidnaps a man and sells him, or if he is found in his hand, shall certainly be put to death. He who curses his father or his mother shall certainly be put to death. And when men strive together, and one strikes the other with a stone or with his fist, and he does not die but is confined to his bed, if he rises again and walks outside with his staff, then he who struck him shall be innocent. He only pays for lost time and sees to it that he is completely healed. And when a man strikes his male or his female servant with a rod so that he dies under his hand, he shall certainly be avenged. But if he remains alive a day or two, and he is not avenged, for he is his property. And when men strive, and they shall smite a pregnant woman, and her children come out, yet there is no injury, he shall certainly be punished accordingly as the woman's husband lays upon him, and he shall give through the judges. But if there is injury, and you shall give life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, lash for lash. And when a man strikes the eye of his male or female servant and destroys it, he is to let him go free for the sake of his eye. And if he knocks out the tooth of his male or female servant, he is to let him go free for the sake of his tooth. And when an ox gores a man or a woman to death, then the ox shall certainly be stoned, and its flesh is not eaten, and the owner of the ox is innocent. However, if the ox was previously in the habit of goring, and its owner has been warned, and he has not kept it confined, so that it has killed a man or a woman, the ox is stoned, and its owner also is put to death. If a sin covering is laid upon him, then he shall give the ransom of his life, whatever is laid on him. Whether it is gored a son or gored a daughter, according to this right ruling, it is done to him. If the ox gores a male or female servant, he is to give to their master 30 shekels of silver, and the ox is stoned. When the man opens a pit, and when a man opens a pit, or if a man digs a pit and does not cover it, and an ox or a donkey falls in it, the owner of the pit is to repay. He is to give silver to their owner, and the dead beast is his. And when the ox of a man smites the ox of his neighbor, and it dies. When the ox of a man smites the ox of a neighbor, and it dies, then they shall sell the live ox, divide the silver from it, and also divide the dead ox. For if it is known that the ox was previously in the habit, or if it was known that the ox was previously in the habit of goring, and its owner has not kept it confined, he shall certainly repay ox for ox, while the dead beast is his. All right, that's it. That's Exodus 19, 20, and 21. Shalom.